back. But they were there, they were training, they were practicing, they were playing online tournaments, and Sours was playing a very strong top lead sit. So
Warwick has been locked in.
They were adamant they had nothing hidden. I was sure they did.
Warwick has been locked in. So this could be lane wick. It could be lane wick. He can sustain very well, hungering strikes over and over and over, keeps himself up to that lane, keeps himself on high HP. It could be Warwick in the jungle. It is sitting with Cyanide. It has been a long time since we've seen Warwick in professional play.
We'll wait and see where he goes, where he switches to, and what CLG are going to take as their last pick. What do you do against that? I have not seen a Warwick in professional play, scrim play, tournament play, online, offline play in months and months.
Diana is available. Diana is available for selection. We know that Froggen can play Diana, and we see, of course, Lux and Anivia are banned out. So a couple of champions that are available for him. Who is he deciding that he wants to lock in? A lot of time being used. 5 seconds left on the clock, and actually it looks like Twisted Fate, unless they get swapped out at the very, very last second. Froggen is going to be playing Twisted Fate as his AP mid champion.
It's something new, something interesting, that's for sure. I mean, Diana does work very well against Orianna, so that would have made sense, but okay, he's opting to go with something different. He's opting to go with the Twisted Fate. He's going to have some global presence in this, but ultimately, again, you look at that CLG team, what does it do? It gets strong late game, it gets very tanky, you can sit under a turret, you can throw wildcards down a straight line of minions, and they're not going to get any damage on your turret. It is so standard, basic, old school CLG that it almost hurts, in all fairness. It's just there, it's basic, it's... If it ain't broke, don't fix it, simple as that. But it's now all on Fnatic. Can they either win early, or can they break through this? They don't particularly have a strong lineup for split pushing, that's one way to break through CLG's solid turtle. They obviously have something hidden away. Soaz is currently on that Warwick. That would suggest a top lane. It could still switch in the next 10 seconds, but I have a feeling it might just stay there.
Yeah, it definitely looks like so. We are going to be seeing a lane wick up in the top lane coming up against Wicked's Malphite. We are into the final 30 seconds of countdown before this grand final gets underway. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear a cheer if you think Fnatic is going to be grand final winners. And now I think we're going to crank the volume up a little bit. Who of you guys think CLG are going to win?
I think we need a third cheer mixed into that too. Who of you guys think Froggen alone's going to take this?
That was a little bit louder if I don't say so myself. Before we get into the loading screen and this very first game in the best of 3, we do need to say thanks once again to the sponsors, to XNG, to SteelSeries, and to Talia, of course, for putting this amazing event. Huge, huge, huge props to Dreamhack, to all of the production staff. You guys have put on a kick-ass show. And just for a little one, hi, baby. I love you, my girl. I'm just giving a little bit of love to my girlfriend as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
indeed.
So loading screen is up. You can see on the screens of the players there, it is up on scene. Nobody from Fnatic is wearing a skin. I am very, very disappointed by that. But magnificent Twisted Fate as well as the charred Maokai in the bottom lane. So I think they're going to win that skin war.
Yeah, very close. I don't know which way to take it. We've got... Okay, it's magnificent Twisted Fate at the end of the day, but once he's in game, he's a very disappointing skin, if I'm completely honest, especially for how much that you pay for it.
Well, we will be seeing it very, very shortly. The game is about to get underway. As we have said, there is a lot of money on the line between these two teams, and we are seeing a lane wick. We are seeing a champion we have not seen in a very, very long time in competitive play, and it could be considered a risky pick. It could be considered a cheese pick. But we're going to see whether or not it's going to work out. The thing that I do like, he's going to be able to sustain the damage that Wicked's putting down. And he's going to be able to heal up those seismic shards and ground slams.
Yeah, and let's see, level 1. Both of these teams have done some crazy aggression style things. We've seen Fnatic starting out with some very aggressive, straight out of the base, run straight into the enemy jungle kind of strategies in some of their previous games. We've seen CLG, in more of their last few games, especially with the Maokai late invading in at the 1 minute 50, the 1 minute 40 marks into their enemy jungles, catching them by surprise, catching them out of position, and taking the buffs and stealing them there. So with both of these teams already in a fairly grouped position around this top half of the map, we'll have to see who makes the first move. So as is darting up to watch the entrance to the blue buff from the other side, while the rest of Fnatic all sitting down here in a very safe position on the other entrance. CLG, though, still covering both the Wraith Camp and the Tribush. There is a sapling placed up here, so Snoopy's made quite a bit of a trek up to the top half of the map. And Froggen, of course, just watching the crossover down towards blue side. Blue, once again, though, has been warded by CLG, so they are going to get any kind of info if Fnatic heading across into that side. But as we approach closer and closer to our 1 minute 40, our 1 minute 55 mark, still very little movement from both squads.
Yeah, absolutely nothing happens. Neither of these teams have performed any sort of invade. They haven't even placed any wards down. That's going to give some vision of Froggen. He's going to chill by the little ball, realize that Orianna is relatively close by. He will definitely know the range of the distance that that ball has at its maximum. And we do have a very, very brief pause while we find out exactly what's happening. Tiny bit of lag for Cyanide. We'll get that PC looked at by one of the admins. CLG versus Fnatic showing their opposite number, the amount of respect that they deserve. They don't invade 5v5. They didn't go place the wards. They don't want to mess up or make a mistake this early in the game.
Yeah, it's not worth like we know how strongly this game likes to snowball out of control. Especially, we saw a perfect example of Records on Monday, the Fnatic.RaidCall Cup. 2 kills and an assist in their level 1 fight. They went 3-1 in the whole thing. 2 kills and assist. The game was over by 11 minutes. He had Zeal, Ninja Tabby, 2 Dorans, about 6 minutes. There was no coming back from that. CLG, they know that's possible, they know that's there, and they know Fnatic are good enough to really drive that advantage home if they're given it. Not going to risk it. Fnatic, the very same thing in reverse. They know CLG, if you're given them an advantage, they will use it. Don't risk it in the first minute. Wait, play your standard game, make Warwick have an opportunity to make an impact. Let him farm up, let him sit in that top lane, take it through to the later game where he really starts to make an impact. See what happens.
I'm a little bit scared as to what Fnatic are going to do to reply to Froggen. He's going to be able to use that Destiny to do all manner of things. He can defend, he can split push, he can gank. As soon as he gets that ultimate up and available, Froggen is a high impact, extremely high skilled AP mid player, and a champion like Twisted Fate can literally swing the entire pace of a game. It can slow it down, it can speed it up, it can backdoor towers and turrets if that's the way he wants to play it. We do appear to have the technical issue resolved and we are back up and in game. So 2 minutes in, gonna get control of the camera again. And we see CLG, they are going for that late invade again, which is what we've seen a number of times before. And this time, it just looks like you're going to steal away that blue buff away from Lee Sin.
Here's the thing, Cyanide was waiting on that side of the bush to seemingly go and invade onto Snoopy's red buff. Because he had to wait for that long, and then CLG came in such force, Cyanide had to leave without doing the invade, therefore getting to his own red buff much later than he normally would have and should have. So it slowed Cyanide's jungle down even more by not only keeping him off that red buff, by taking away the enemy blue, of course. He is now going to make his way across there with a little bit of help from Enrated from the same thing to try and steal Snoopy's blue. There is a Warden here for CLG though. Froggen is pushed up under the mid turret from Peke, so he shouldn't be able to come in and help out. And with Enrated here, it should be 2v1 onto Snoopy, so we'll have to see how that shapes up. In the meantime, it is a 2v1 in the top and the bottom lane as CLG have switched their AD carry and Wicked around.
We'll see whether or not this blue buff actually gets taken. Cyanide does manage to pick it up. He hits an arcane smash as he walks his way out of there, but the 4 members of Fnatic put enough pressure down to steal that buff, and they effectively just reset one another's jungles because, of course, both blue buffs being taken away. Vision for both teams on that blue buff. Soaz already up to 5 CS, so he's been able to pick up a couple of extra creeps, while Corki has been zoning Wicked out quite a bit on this bottom lane. However, there is a massive, massive creep wave alongside him. This is about 2.5 or 3 creep waves full of CS coming underneath the tower. And of course, if Wicked times his abilities right, gets those brutal strikes up and ground slam, once he gets a level or 2 under his belt, it's going to help him farming up that gold, getting the experience, and it makes life a little bit easier for him underneath the tower. I think Malphite will have an easier time of farming under the tower than what Warwick does, and he's a little bit less dependent on mana as well.
Yeah, something you got to look at there. Warwick, 2 of those creeps are the little lizards from blue buff, so they're only 5 gold. But we do see Cyanide coming now round behind the turret onto Wicked, does take the initial aggro, then will dart out, giving Records back it, and he gives it first blood across to Corki, and Fnatic take an early lead.
What a beautiful play. Expert tower mitigation. They dodged the damage back and forth. You can see initially Lee Sin took 2 bursts of damage, got out of range of it, then transferred it over to Corki, and then just came back in, landed the resonating strike and put a lot of damage down. So Corki picking up first blood. It's going to allow him to get a little bit of an item advantage, maybe picking up a Doran's Blade early. We'll see when he decides to recall. Up in the top lane, though, Soaz is the one that's under trouble. Snoopy's coming in, going to land this Twisted Advantage, is going to hold Soaz in place. Essence Flux goes down, auto attack, Mystic Shot, Ignite is ticking. Now we're going to see the shield comes down. Yellow P maybe going down. They trade 1-for-1. Jumped onto Crepper. Can Cyanide chase? They are so incredibly low. The shield goes onto Snoopy. Red buff is ticking away. Soaz, Cyanide rather, is going to pick this one up. That's a double kill. Now he's turned back. Lulu suicided to the tower. Triple kill for Cyanide. 3-0-1 for Fnatic.
I love it. Cyanide said, okay, I'm coming down here. I've got Lulu, I've got Snoopy, I've got Lulu, I've got Maokai. Maokai's a double buff. I'm going to switch on to Maokai. Starts to take that kill down. Crepo can't count to 10. He suicides through a turret. He didn't wait the 10 seconds for the suicide and grants the kill to Lee Sin because of the AoE from that Tempest. Triple kill on Lee Sin, as you say. 5 minutes. We keep mentioning how he's such a strong early game jungler, how his presence is in here before about levels 14, 15, before the 20-minute mark. He could not have asked for a better start. He goes back, he buys the Madrid Razors and a Vamp Scepter, buys a couple of wards, buys a couple of potions. He's now going to have complete free reign over Snoopy's jungle as well. He's going to be able to go in and out of there. He's going to be able to 1v1 Snoopy all day long because he's going to have a level advantage, he's going to have an item advantage, and on top of the fact that his champion is just straight up stronger.
The question right now is whether or not Fnatic know how to convert this and continue picking up those kills. They've obviously practiced these low-level dives. They've obviously practiced this low-level engagement. And it's great to see Cyanide playing Lee Sin. It is a champion that has such a great effect in the early stages of the matchup, and he's doing it very, very well. The thing is, CLG, they are the masters of stall. They are the masters of delay tactics, and they have the ability to just slow this game down and farm themselves back into a match. It's 1,000 gold difference between the lanes. You can see the CS at the bottom of your screen, and we know CLG have the skill and the ability to do that. Whether or not they can pull it off, or whether or not Cyanide can successfully land more ganks, that's going to determine how the rest of this game plays out.
Yeah, we also saw that gave Fnatic the opportunity to switch their lanes back. They have put Reckles and Enrated in the top lane, but Frogger's going to come join him with a quick teleport. Flash away from the stun from Enrated with a double snare as well. Makes they get out of that gank scot-free.
Really, really nicely done. Even though that gold card did land, the Grasping Roots is just too powerful and slowed everybody down. Cyanide level 5, getting nearer to level 6. They're putting a lot of damage onto this top tower. Snoopy's clearing out those waves as best he can with those sapling tosses and arcane smashes. And they've done a decent chunk of damage, and if they do decide to poke a little bit further, they may be able to pick up another early tower. We've seen a lot of early towers at this particular land, but then the lane phase still continues. It's a little bit strange. You do tend to see a slight different thing. Take a look at this middle lane now. Soaz is coming in. Infinite Duress goes down. Come on, attack. Dissonance. Shockwave. The Sonic Wave is going to miss, but Orianna picks up the kill. Fnatic. Wow, wow, wow. It is very, very clear they have come into this matchup with a game plan. They are comboing their abilities beautifully, and they are 5-1 up in the grand finals.
The beautiful thing about that is that's not a new strategy. That is how you play solo top Warwick. You level him up to 6. If you can't farm in lane, which he can do, but why do it when you can roam around, use that ult to suppress someone in mid lane, and get a free kill. That's always the way you play solo top Warwick. You get 6, you go mid, you get a free kill. Simple as that. And then you're going to keep doing it. CLG have not played against that for so long, and it was so beautifully executed under the turret. They just could not see it coming, and Froggen couldn't defend against it.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. I mean, you're suppressed for that entire duration of time. Orianna doesn't even need to aim that little ball. It's literally a freestanding target. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, as it were. Lands the abilities, gets the entire combo together, and all of a sudden Warwick 0-1-3. He has a 10 CS advantage and 3 assists to his name. Reckles is getting a massive chunk of farm up on this top lane, so keep an eye on how he's last hitting, and we'll see how the rest of this early game stage goes out. But in the early laning phase, Fnatic are applying enough pressure to CLG to actually make them step back and go, all right guys, what do we need to do, what do we need to change, and how much more clear does our communication need to be to prevent that happening again?
Yeah, on top of the fact that Cyanide now with his 3-0-2 has his Ruggles complete. He's just hit 7. Snoopy is just basing only after just about finishing level 6. And there is an Oracle's up on both junglers now. Actually, Snoopy's picked his up very soon. So there was a brief moment there where, while Snoopy's running back out to lane, that Cyanide had that Oracle's a bit sooner. He's going to have that map control a little bit more on the table, but Snoopy has bought his very, very soon, very, very quickly. He needs to be careful he doesn't get caught out and lose it just as fast. Otherwise, that is could not be any worse for that facility. It was disastrous if he loses it in quick succession. But we'll wait and watch. He is now grasping a yellow Pete, the red buff. That's the bonus they get from being on the purple side and being in this top lane. We'll see if he can put it to good use against N-Rated and Reckles.
It can swing things in their favor, of course. That slow, that true damage that ticks over in the middle lane. A little bit of an engagement goes back and forth. Destiny is available from Froggen. Does he decide to use it? He does, and he just goes back to middle lane. I think he was potentially throwing it out to get away from a gank. But on the bottom lane, we were watching the exchanges between Soaz and Wicked. And Soaz in a straight up, battle, face to face with his Hungering Strike, as well as his attack speed increase, that Hunter's Call. He's going to be the amount of damage he's able to apply with the auto attacks, even through a champion like Malphite, who is sort of built to counter auto-attacking champions. The Hunger Strike being magic damage, all of the attack speed he gets from the recurve bow, it's really playing into his favor. And look how early they're going for this dragon. 10 minutes up. There's no vision here, with the exception of seeing Warwick leaving the bottom line. CLG have no idea this is going on.
Lee Sin, phenomenally strong early jungler with that quick wriggles, with the blue buff and the chalice on Orianna. She can spam ability down onto 2, and there's nothing CLG can do about it. Wicked is trying to recall in that bush. Cyanide doesn't want to take the fight, he just wants to kill the ward. Wicked being as annoying as he can while that happens, but Cyanide does finish it off. Starts to make his way back out. Wicked will recall, probably buy another one or replace it soon. But if Cyanide's smart, he's pretty smart, he'll probably come down and kill it again very, very soon. So if you're doing the same thing in the top lane, killing Ward in the Tribush, just taking that security away from N-Rated and Reckles just for a little while. They have to play very safe in case Snoopy's coming in for this. Grepper getting very aggressive, just using the security of their paranoia. Okay, well, they think Snoopy might be around. If I come forward, they're going to get scared that Snoopy is definitely around. I can get some free damage off, some free harass off, even though Snoopy actually left. They don't know that.
Yeah, such a great psychological game. Blue buff has not spawned just yet, but Cyanide and Soaz are moving into position to challenge for this one. They've just placed a ward down, so this is going to give them all the vision that they need. Middle tower is going to drop with all of the damage that has been put down from earlier on. Fnatic are in a very, very good position right now. They've set themselves up great. They've extended that gold lead. It is slowly equating into items. And if they continue this pressure, they're just going to be able to snowball this laning phase into a great team fight phase. A couple of blue pings go down, so they signal where Maokai is. They now know where he is, and I think we've turned our attention to Wicked in this bottom lane.
Yeah, they're going to come straight down. They're going to walk across the wall. They're going to stop and kill it. In fact, Wicked is not leaving quick enough. He's going to use that unstoppable force. They do not want to chase that any further through, but it does use our ultimate up without any kind of expenditure from the Fnatic guys. I don't know if you saw where Soaz was during the turret kill in mid lane, but he was standing here inside the Fnatic jungle, waiting just in case Froggen came back to try and defend that turret. He was ready to leap over the wall with his suppress and get the kill and then finish off the turret. So, again, great roaming from the Fnatic team and great wall placement to allow that as well.
Yeah, vision as again, we've been saying it time and time and time again, and it does need to be pointed out just how many wards Fnatic have actually been buying throughout this tournament. They played a matchup where they faced off against an Eve. I think it was Extinct playing it up in the top lane. The Straggling Roots comes down. Look at the damage onto N-Rated. He eats a huge burst from Froggen. He's going to be able to get that passive up. Gold card goes down into Reckles. They're going to carry on dealing DPS. Reckles is dropped very, very low. The rest of the team considering diving, but as soon as Froggen joins the party, he gets that gold card down, throws out the wild cards and a huge amount of damage. The rest of Fnatic are now chasing into the middle lane. Dragon's Rage kicks Snoopy backwards. Shockwave misses entirely, but they're going to be able to follow it up onto the Infinite Duress. Now the rest of Fnatic are going to put some damage into this interior tower. Will they be able to take it down in time before CLG can respond? That is the question.
We do see Pete and Creeper trying to do their best with this top turret, but Lulu does knock up on the yellow Pete, so Reckles is in a horrible position. Does get a kill onto Creeper before the exhaust run out. Pete's still taking a lot of damage from the turret, but he does manage to fit it off with one last auto attack. The extra health he gets from Lulu's growth is just that enough just to keep him going. Mid tier 2 turret does fall down to Soaz, though. Wicked at the same time is trying to do his best to push this bottom turret. Takes it down to about half health at the moment. Does need to be careful though. Xpeke coming down the lane. Soaz coming through the jungle. He's only got 2 creeps left. I think he should be able to get this before the creeps run out. In fact, no, he's going to get it after the creeps run out. He's going to take a couple of shots from the turret as well, and now Soaz is coming in. Doesn't have his ult for the CC. He's got 37 seconds left on that, and Pekka has given up the chase, gone back through towards his mid lane. But it's 7-3 here for Fnatic. They have a 2,000 gold lead, and they are well and truly in control of this game. CLG are trying to make these plays. They're trying to take the top turret. They're trying to dive onto Reckles. But Fnatic says, okay, you're going to do that. We're going to take a tier 2 turret. We're going to go deeper in. We're going to go further, closer into your base. We don't really mind if you take our top outer turret. We don't really mind if you take down our AD carry. He's going to take your support with him. We will get this turret. We will get map control. We will get global gold, and we'll get objectives.
And this is one of the only ways to defeat CLG.EU. If you force them to play the game at your pace, if you force them to react as opposed to be in the setting of the pace position, then they need to, they're on the back foot. Then they're the ones that are being forced to make plays, being forced to create opportunities, and being forced to fight. The thing is, they still can. You've seen it in that top lane where they managed to pick up that gank, they managed to pick up the kill. The burst damage that's coming out from Froggen already is absolutely immense. N-Rated's HP bar was just, it disappeared. It just absolutely disappeared. Gold cards plus the Sheen proc plus the wild cards, and he was gone. He could not stay alive at all. So great play from Fnatic, but they need to keep the pressure up, and they cannot allow CLG to farm themselves back into this. A dragon has gone their way, an additional tower, and 4 kills, and it's only 2,000 gold. It feels like a small amount.
It feels small. It feels bigger if you're in CLG's position. We do see Wicked Froggen teleporting in towards the top lane, gets the stun down onto Soaz. Wildcard comes out, the Ignite's a ticking. Lulu's going to use his knockup to try and get the slowdown as well. Soaz is getting beasted now. The ult comes out from Ezreal. He will fall down to Yellow Peak. There's no support here from Fnatic. They do pull away down the river. CLG is starting to claw their way back into this.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic kill there coming out onto Soaz. Take a look at the top, the bottom lane. N-Rated goes low. Stranglethorn's forced to come out. No tower damage aggro just yet. But that full combination, Ignite, unstoppable, and then Rated gets dropped to below 100 hit points. Now Reckles is going toe-to-toe with Malphite, actually trading fairly evenly. Wicked's dropped very low. He knows there's no ultimate available, there's no Ignite available. The Grasping Roots comes in, Dragon's Rage kick comes backwards. Cyanide is going to get the slow, looking for the Sonic Wave, doesn't manage to land it. Now another kill for Fnatic and another tower for Fnatic.
I love how ballsy N-Rated played that. He stayed there with next to no HP. They didn't know where CLG was. They could have been coming down for him for all they knew, but he stayed. He landed some vital snares, landed some good plants down, just getting in the way, a little bit of disruption onto Wicked. And despite the fact that Cyanide actually missed quite a few skill shots in that, the kill was picked up. Kill was picked up on the important people. Corki is now 3-1. All this time, Lee Sin, yes, he went 3-0 to start with, but he's stayed behind. He hasn't picked up the extra kills, he just picked up assists and helped to feed the rest of his team. That's how you take the late game through with Lee Sin. You're going to fall off, you give your teammate the kills. Snoopy, completely asleep, walking straight into Soaz and Peke in the mid lane, does immediately, he's down to half health with auto attacks and a Q from Soaz before he even turns around, and then the ult comes out from Soaz, then he's locked up. Blames a pop-up apparently, but changes nothing, the guy's dead.
Well, unfortunately, a pop-up potentially may have caused that kill. True Shot Barrage comes out, steals it! They steal it!
Yellow Peak stealing from Cyanide of all people.
That is what I like to see. The crowd erupts in a cheer, and exactly like Panky pointed out, that is stealing from Cyanide. The thing that I do want to point out, which I just noticed, Xpeke is defeating Froggen as far as CS is concerned. Froggen is falling behind in the CS numbers. He just used his Destiny for defensive purposes. He was pushing that top lane, and he immediately fell back with the help of Destiny. And you got to question, you got to think to yourself, Twisted Fate, it's a champion we don't see him playing all that often. Maybe he's not quite as versed with last hitting, with the farming techniques and the way to optimize it 100%. Or maybe CLG are a little bit nervous being this far behind in the grand final.
Yeah, it's certainly something they're not used to. I mean, they dropped a little bit behind when they were up against Copenhagen Wolves, but Copenhagen Wolves, they knew they could just turtle up, they were fine. Fnatic, if they try that strategy, I don't think it's going to work quite so much. That and Fnatic have just got so much more map presence. Copenhagen Wolves were scared to go past their side of the river for a long time.
That's why Warwick was picked. It's the exact reason Warwick was picked. If they decide to turtle and stay behind the tower, all Fnatic are going to look for is an opportunity like this, like right now, where you can see Wicked is alone in the top lane. They jump on him with infinite duress, whether it's behind a tower or not. Take a look at Reckles. He's got Command Protect on. A flash actually comes out.
Froggen was terrified of Soaz getting in close range, and in doing so, it had actually pushed CLG off and around to the top side of their base. There's, luckily for them, no creeps coming in for Fnatic, so they cannot do any damage to this turret. But if that had been timed a little bit better and there was a creep wave there in support, Fnatic would have got at least half of the health off of that turret before CLG were even in a position to defend it.
Yeah, really, really defensive play from Froggen, and you can exactly see. Take a look at the lanes are pushing though. This is one thing that CLG always do better than any other team that I have seen thus far. Their creep waves are so strong in their favor so often in these matchups. Look at the size of the CS up at this top lane tower. That is all CLG minions. Down in the bottom lane, Reckles has just finished farming up that bottom lane, but their timing and their control of the map, their control of the natural flow and ebb of these minions and creeps is always in their favor. A 5-man CLG puts some pressure now onto this mid lane tower. Xpec is trying to put some pressure down, but there's simply not enough poke from that ball. And CLG pick up a free, uncontested tower to keep themselves within 1,500 gold.
Yeah, they do take turret number 3, evening that score up. But the difference here is Fnatic still have the top turret tier 1 that they can take relatively easily without having to take too much pressure from COG from that. We do know how the blue buff coming out. Yellow Pete is starting to tank that. They're going to try and pass it off to Frog, and he does get there before Peke gets in range to try and steal it. But there was a ward in there from Fnatic, so they could have tried it if they so wished. Fnatic, again though, they are on the aggressive. They're pushing up this mid lane. COG have just based and actually gone back to shop for a lot of items. With a creep wave here this time, Fnatic might get a little bit of damage down onto this turret before COG regroup. You'll get a couple of shots out, and there's a siege creep as well, so Peke landing some shots, but wisely so. Reckles staying a long way back, not wanting to get engaged on by Wicked and Snoopy, and stupidly lose an early game.
There's something that still, again, it still keeps playing on my mind. A 5-kill advantage, but it only equates to 500 gold. Sapling comes out revealing every single member of Fnatic. Flash, not in range for infinite duress, so as burns that summoner spell for absolutely nothing. Peke puts another ward down. They're going to try challenging for this raid. Command attack goes out. Dissonance manages to eat one. Snoopy's gone very, very low. Vengeful Maelstrom is up. There comes the Stranglethorns. They've jumped onto Crepo with the infinite duress. Wild Growth comes out. Now the Shockwave comes down. First one to fall is going to be Zyra. Ezreal picking up that kill. Wicked Force use Unstoppable Force to safety. Zyra picks up the first kill of her team. Now in the background, Froggen is able to close out the kill onto Corki. Soaz is low. Lulu picks up the kill with the Glitter Lance and the red buff. Soaz is in a lot of trouble. CLG, all of a sudden, they're the ones in the driving seat. They've only lost Snoopy, but they've picked up 3 members of Fnatic. They're trying to shut him off. Take a look at the pings from CLG. Froggen and Yellow Pete, they're going to try cut Soaz off. Froggen's decided to back off, as they see there are creeps on that bottom line and creeps in the top line. And that was the engagement that CLG were looking for. Fnatic trying to make something happen, but it wasn't 100% on their terms. It wasn't 100% where they wanted it, and ended up costing them kills.
Soaz saved by the fact that he's maxing his E second. He still had that movement speed boost from low health Lulu for a long time during that chase. He managed to run all the way out to safety. But ultimately, COG won that fight. They've taken the gold lead from it. They're going to have a little bit more confidence in themselves as well because of it. It was initiated by Fnatic. Pretty bad place to initiate, in all honesty. Wicked managed to get an ultimate off onto both their carries. Yes, the shockwave came out from Peke eventually, but it took a little bit of a while. It only hit 2 very tanky members and less important members of COG. They quickly fell afterwards, didn't have any real follow-up, and Reckles just wasn't in range to land any auto attacks across anyone on COG for a long time, and when he was suddenly out of position and got killed.
And so is jumping onto Crepo. You cannot afford to use that infinite duress on a low priority target like Lulu. Yes, she offers a shield. Yes, she offers a slow and the wild growth, but you need to jump onto Ezreal. You need to jump onto Twisted Fate, one of the high damage carries. Lock them down, get the shockwave onto that, even if it only hits that person, because then all of a sudden you can focus 5 versus 1. Lee Sin, Warwick, Corki, and Orianna, even without the burst ultimates, can still do a lot of damage. You get that Hunter's Call from Warwick, it's going to increase the attack speed, and all of them benefit from increased attack speed.
So, 10 kills to 7, still in favor of Fnatic, but do they have the gold across the important champions? Let's have a quick look. Corki to Ezreal, 7,300 gold on Corki, 8,400 on Ezreal. Yellow Pete much stronger at the moment than Reckles is. And the same thing we said for mid lane. Peke farming very, very well against Froggen. He's on 8,300 gold to Froggen's 7,400. So despite the dragons and things that CLG have picked up, and the dragons that Fnatic have picked up, that farm really is making the difference and giving stronger AP to Fnatic, but a stronger AD to CLG.
Yeah, that is true. Those auto attacks are going to be hurting quite a lot more, and it's going to come down to Soaz to make sure he actually picks them up. Enrated doesn't see that ward, and that is a huge, huge blunder. They don't know that CLG can fully see this. Dragon is out. The sapling comes in for some vision. It applies a little bit of damage from Soaz. He's able to regenerate a lot of that from the use of his passive, get some HP back up. They're dancing with wolves here, or rather dancing with CLG. Attack and dissonance goes down. A turret falls up at the top lane because of a very nice creep wave from Fnatic. Dragon resets. It lives to fight another day. And all of a sudden, this fight in the river is just reset.
They do let it reset. Soaz is now coming around the backside of Cripper, standing on a ward, though. Wicked reveals that by landing a slow. It's going to go with unstoppable force. Here's Pekka, here's Soaz. The teleport's going to come in from Froggen. He's just using it for the vision at the moment. Rekkles doing a lot of damage to Wicked on the far side. Froggen is around the backside. Soaz is going to be the first one to fall. Yellow Pete gets that kill. Cyanide can keep away for the knockup. Froggen, they managed to get in there with the gold for the kill. It's going to keep to chase on to Fnatic. They're chasing them down into the Tribush towards Dragon for their own team. CLG still have 5 members left up, and they're all going to just switch up into this mid lane and keep the push going. Immediate wave clear from Froggen is going to open up this turret, and while there's still the red buff, Yellow Pete is going to make his way across shortly to help rip this turret down.
And the beautiful play there from Wicked. He completely locked Orianna up. That unstoppable force prevented the command shockwave from coming down. And by being unable to pull all of the members of CLG together while Soaz was using his infinite duress on Ezreal, there was just nothing more that they could do. And unfortunately, Soaz, going a little too deep, 1 versus 5, he got blown up. And the rest of Fnatic just followed suit when they were a man down.
So, Pete started to solo the dragon, picks that up as soon as his team show up. Snoopy smites it away. We do have Fnatic around the other side of this blue buff, but they're not willing to come over the wall and really contest this on CLG. They are quick pushing up the mid lane again to try and counter it. Peke just grabbing as much CS there, but ultimately they're going to step back, they're going to drop, they're going to reset. They're not over yet. It's very heavily in CLG's favor at the moment, but it's definitely not over. I really love the way Froggen used that ult. He's used it for vision, picked the perfect spot, teleported in, threw a couple of cards out, went back to safety. Threw a couple of cards out, went back to safety. Had that vision the whole time. Same thing for Fnatic, of course. They've got Warwick. Every time someone goes low health, they're going to get vision of him no matter more or less where they are in the fight, because it has such huge range now that's at max level. So to balance those off against each other, they can pick the perfect position for their ADs. They can pick the perfect position for their APs. And at the moment, it's definitely going into CLG's favor.
Yeah, every time they get to a big engagement, every time they get to these team fights, they are just playing it a little bit more superior. And of course, CLG, they have been together a lot longer. They have been a lot more practiced and a lot more versed. Soaz now finds himself in amongst so many members of CLG. I don't know if he realizes just how close to the edge he is currently dancing. Peke puts a little ward up in that top. Enrated does have an Oracle's Elixir, but needs to put himself in the line of fire. Glitterlance comes out. Nobody sees it. Peke uses the command attack to get some information, and look at the damage onto Enrated. Trinity Force complete as well as that Bloodthirster with full stacks. It chunks Enrated from 1,200 hit points, or 1,300 hit points, to 800. That is a massive, massive number in that particular attack. Blue buff for Fnatic is respawned, and I think CLG want to challenge for this. They have vision, and it's exactly what's happening. Destiny is available for Froggen. It'll take him a little bit of time to close that gap and that distance, though. Snoopy also has Smite available. Not going to need it, though, because Fnatic to close it out. And CLG make the smart move, saying, you know what, we'll leave Twisted Fate to push. He's down in the bottom lane. Fnatic checking out the Baron Pit. No more wards. And just this lull, once again, waiting for that opportunity, waiting for the door to open so they can unleash the flood of spells and abilities. True Shot Barrage goes out just to clear that top wave. Doesn't manage to hit, unfortunately. And yeah, just a little bit of a slower pace right now.
Yeah, now that CLG have taken the lead, they can dictate this pace. They like it slow. They're going to sit there and they're going to slowly split push. Froggen's going to then jump to another lane if he gets any kind of threat on towards him. If they see too many members of Fnatic missing, he's going to fall back. Then he's going to come and push it again once they reappear. The rest of CLG is just going to keep an eye on them, make sure they don't go for the Baron, dance around them for a little while. Don't initiate their fight until they've got Froggen in that perfect position, until they've got all the items they want. Then they'll let Fnatic get a little bit closer than they originally. They'll unstoppable force in, they'll pop their full combo. Froggen will teleport into his perfect little spot, and just like we saw in the last team fight, fire off wildcard, pick off Lee Sin on his way out again. And ultimately, they'll take the fight, they'll take Baron or an inhibitor, they'll take the game. So Fnatic really need to wait, not let that happen to them. They need to stop the split pushes from Froggen, or they need to catch one of these other members of CLG out without letting them back off and retreat just as they want to. With perhaps flash ult from Soaz would be the ideal way to do it. It's probably the way they're intending to do it. Question is, can they actually pull it off? Yeah,
that is so, so true. The flip side to that flash ult from Soaz, if it puts him out of range of Peke's ball, Orianna's shockwave and combo, then that entire combo falls to pieces. So Soaz and Peke really, really need to get on the same page about these engagements, and ideally they need to pick it from the from blind. They cannot afford to be spotted, because Wicked, he knew what was coming. He knew that was the combination that they were going to do, while Fnatic were in and around their red buff, and he instantly knocked them up with that unstoppable force. He cancelled the combo, he prevented Peke from using his abilities, and it was literally the perfect counter to that engagement that Fnatic put together. So 10-9, 4,000 gold lead. We're approaching the 30-minute mark. 4 towers down for each side, but CLG, you feel, are strongly in control of this matchup. They've won every major engagement that has taken place since we ended the laning phase. Nobody's tried to push for Baron just yet, but the huge amount of farm across the board and a lot of gold means that CLG, they're just waiting. They're just playing this patiently, like we know them to do all the time.
Now, they're coming up towards this top tier 2 turret. It's already pretty low on health, but I think you've got to get through this wave clear though. Records does catch a mystic shot from Yellow Pete, and it does chunk a lump out of his little metal hull. CLG do back away though once they're out of creeps. They're going to just make sure they are safe from any possible engage again from Fnatic. Back now towards that mid lane, clearing the Baron pen out using the oracles on Creeper. Doing a better job this time of leveling on poor little Lulu. Obviously, stayed level 4, level 5 for a long time in that previous game. Now, on the other hand, he's leveling up quite nicely. We see a mass recall from CLG. They're going to go back shop and probably come out for some kind of Baron or something like that. But interesting enough, Froggen has just bought an Oracle's Elixir.
Well, we'll see how that plays. He's playing very, very confident. He's split pushing the entire time, so it makes perfect sense to me. It allows him to clear those wards out while he's using his Destiny in a defensive manner. He's catching up on the farm that he's fallen behind. Still 30 CS behind Peke's Orianna at the moment, but the split pushing power that he offers and the tower killing power that a Deathcap Lichbane Twisted Fate offers is a lot scarier than the tower pushing power potential of an Orianna. 4 members of CLG are actually keeping 5 members of Fnatic at bay. They were sitting in the middle lane. They knew Twisted Fate was in the bottom lane, and fair enough, he can jump in there. Soaz is going to go forward. Yellow Pete gets infinite arrest. It does pull him out, though. The Shockwave pulls 3 members of CLG together. Take a look at the dissonance on the floor. Now the Unstoppable Force is in there. Reckles finally joins the party, but he's a bit too late, and they're focusing onto Wicked. You cannot focus Wicked and expect to win this game. Wicked forced to flash out of the way. Immediately, Yellow Pete has picked up the kill into Soaz. Gold card is available for Froggen. Can he stun anybody up? Doesn't get into range. Stuns the plant. You see the plant dying in a deathly animation. But simply put, you cannot put that much energy and time onto Wicked. You cannot let Yellow Pete deal all that damage unanswered, unreplied.
The thing is, they had to. They had no other option. He used that unstoppable force. He hit 3, he hit 4 people. And then he just started to use the attack speed, use the slow, wouldn't let them through. It was kill him or get stuck. They got stuck. Soaz were trying to do the same thing back to CLG, and he had Yellow Pete, he had Froggen, he had Snoopy all locked up there on him. But unfortunately, they can get through Soaz a lot quicker than Fnatic can get through Wicked. As a result, Soaz did die. Fnatic immediately had to back away. Wicked got out with his life, and the rest of CLG closed in, trying to press home the kill, press home the victory. Couldn't quite pull it off thanks to a good disengage from Fnatic, a nice Stranglethorn knocking everyone up. But they came out stronger. Froggen's gone top lane. He has picked up another turret. CLG did pick up that extra kill. They got a little bit extra gold. They're slowly stretching their lead out. It's approaching 7,000 gold now. They've both been back to shop. Peke does get caught out by Froggen in this bush. He gets the stun card down. The wild cards are coming out. But Soaz comes in to help it. Peke's got the igniting. The shockwave falls away. The gold card lands anyway. But Peke survives.
True shot barrage is coming down. Is it going to connect? No, it does not. But a brave, brave shot from Yellow Pete. If Peke had decided to recall there, he would have gone down to that true shot barrage. That's a kill on the board for Fnatic, the first in a long, long time. I would hazard as many as 15 or 16 minutes, and it was very well played. Soaz managed to get in range. He got the movement speed buff from that blood scent. And something that was very interesting that I noticed, Yellow Pete pulled the dragon earlier. 4 members of Fnatic started moving down to the river, but they didn't actually check if the dragon was there. They could have taken it. CLG were out of position. They were out of place for this objective. And instead, Fnatic played it safe, fell back, and it means CLG pick up the Drake and extend their lead to 6,000 gold at the 33-minute mark.
Now looking very strong, but again, Fnatic, that wasn't a bad fight for them the last time. They got the perfect initiate they wanted, they just couldn't get through Wicked. Now they've backed, they've shot, they've bought a couple of extra items. Have a look down the recent purchases. Soaz picked up a Spirit Visage. He's going to get a little bit more tanky. He's got a bit more magic resist, a bit more healing down on him from his Q and from his auto attacks. Peke picking up a Rabadon's Death Cut not so long ago as well. Not so many more items for Corki. He has got a Last Whisper up. He has got that Trinity Force in there too. Needs to get a bit more damage out. He's starting to build an Infinity Edge, but he's only got an extra 500 gold on top of that pickaxe. So they either need to sit back, let him farm up a long way and get that Infinity Edge now, or they need to start taking these fights and somehow get some kills onto him, or some global objectives from turrets, dragons, or barons instead. So as he's going to go straight down to Creeper, but he's silenced as soon as the ult goes off. There's a shockwave pulling Snoopy and Wicked back. Cyaneto's very, very low. Still haven't got Froggen in this fight. Snoopy trying to back away. He's taking a lot of damage from this. And Wicked is still standing in the front, not doing too much. Froggen coming teleport in. Wicked taken very low after the Zyra comes out. Here comes Froggen though. He's going to start cleaning up. Snoopy's going to fall as 2 kills from Fnatic. They're going to start to back away with Froggen. Pete and Creeper on the chase. There's the slow comes out from Peke. Cyanide and Fnatic and friends are all very low, but they have successfully disengaged. Peke's not had enough though. He wants to go back in towards Yellow Pete. There is a double buff on him. He's going to have that slow if he can get in range for an auto attack. Blue buff does wear out. Peke just constantly spamming that ball out, trying to turn Pete around. And it looks like Fnatic successfully pick up 2 kills and disengage.
All of a sudden, you feel like Fnatic, they've got this extra breath of life. They're finally chaining their abilities together, and they're picking their engagements. They're picking the times when CLG cannot instantly counter that Soa's Infinite Duress, where they cannot infinitely lock up, or rather instantly lock up Orianna's, Shockwave. The Shockwave was good, but it wasn't perfect. It only caught 2 or 3 members of CLG, and again, it was the tanky frontline members. If that Shockwave had been on the back line, had been onto Yellow Pete, Crepo, or Froggen, you got to feel that they could have actually dealt enough damage to push that inhibitor turret. Nonetheless, Fnatic, they are not out of this game. They have not given up. They continue to press home. They continue to play this sort of skirmish type of battle. And if they continue doing so, pick up enough kills, they can bring themselves back into this matchup.
So, CLG on the defensive in the mid lane. That inhibitor turret has been exposed for quite a while now. Fnatic haven't quite made the opening through. They need to get some damage down onto it though. We are approaching the 35-minute mark. There's still a 6,000 gold advantage for CLG, but Fnatic just showed us exactly how they wanted to operate that fight. Might have gone a little bit differently if Froggen had joined them a little bit sooner. But ultimately, they saw where Froggen was, and they initiated a fight on the back of that. They knew that's where he was, so they felt safe going in for it. They can do that again. Now that they're stronger, now they've got more items, they're going to keep getting that gold back. They're going to keep putting it onto their important carries. And then maybe next time Froggen does join the fight when it should be, they're going to have to take him down anyway. They're still having trouble getting through Wicked, but they're going to get closer and closer with every successful fight.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Wicked is that main beefy tanky. Warmog's armor, Force of Nature, Sunfire Cape, Sorcerer's Shoes. Take a look at Soaz. He has Command Protect on him. Now, Fnatic need to be careful. The last time they picked an engagement like this, it did not go well for them. Wicked is picking a fight. He's looking. He's trying to get in range. N-Rated is so close to being caught out. No Mystic Shot lands. Now we're going to see Soaz all of a sudden is caught out. We see the Destiny coming out from Froggen. Vision is available. Snoopy is going to get knocked up. I didn't quite see what from. Now we're going to see him being chased back. Soaz is all of a sudden very, very low. Beautiful unstoppable force. Knocks up 4 members of Fnatic. A secondary knockup from Wicked. The wild growth onto him. Fnatic are slow. Fnatic are up in the air. Their HP is low. Yellow Pete, how many can you get? That's 1 onto Peke. Froggen picks up the second of the fight. No slow lands onto Peke this time round. He manages to move his way out of the battle. Manages to move his way out of the fight with 2 down. This is going to single Baron Nashor for CLG.
The perfect initiate for CLG. It's exactly what they wanted. They went on to Soaz, he took a little bit of damage, they didn't really want to start too much, then they got in it, and then Wicked, unstoppable force, 4 members of Fnatic, perfect combo as soon as they landed in there again. There's the Lulu, wild growth, everyone's back up in the air again, still hitting 4 people, then slowing them afterwards. Froggen, okay, wasn't the ideal teleport this time, but it gave him vision, let him know where it was, opened up the Baron after the fight, and they managed to slowly make their way over Fnatic, taking their health off one by one, and still, they could not get through Wicked while he was standing in amongst them all. They need to find a way to get through that tanky guy, or fight without him there, and it's not going to happen the way CLG are playing.
No, not at all. In terms of the gameplay as well, what we've seen out of CLG this entire event, once they create themselves a 10,000 gold lead, that is when they decide to think about pushing for the victory. Until they have that sort of number advantage, it's a simple matter of farmer armor, as it were. So they're approaching that mark. We'll see how they want to play this out, just how they want to push, because there is still a very good defensive team from Fnatic. If you try and dive them under the tower, you're going to get Infinite Duress, you're going to get Shocked Wave. There's great wave clear from both Orianna, Zyra, and Corki. They can turtle effectively as well. The question now, all of a sudden Fnatic are wearing the armor. Can CLG find and exploit those kinks in it?
Here's the thing, Soaz is now, his initiate is kind of redundant. Both Froggen and Yellow Pete have quick silver slashes. The only remaining target is Lulu. And yes, you can ult onto Lulu now, but while his team can't burst through, the idea is you ult onto Lulu, kill her before she gets any kind of silence out, before she gets her polymorph off, before she gets her ult off, before she gets her wild growth off. That takes a lot out of CLG's combo. They can't do that. They can't get to her. They can't get through the rest of CLG. They don't have the damage to go through him anyway. Creeper's pretty tanky. So who else do you... Oh, Wicked? Snoopy? That's not really going to get you very far anyway. So Soaz's ult is now very, very niche in where he can use it. Maybe on Yellow Pete or Froggen as they're running away at the end of a fight. But at the moment, it's been Fnatic that are running away at all of these fights. So therefore, he's got no target. And now you can see they're playing very defensive, hiding under the turret and just waiting for the inevitable push from CLG.
It's an interesting thought that you bring up, though, because if Soaz does decide to jump onto Wicked and hold him in place with an Infinite Duress, assuming the rest of Fnatic are able to jump onto their carries, lock up Yellow Pete or lock up Froggen and pick up a kill there on, with all of the combo abilities from the Shockwave, etc., that can actually work for them. If you take out a big source of their damage and you only leave tanks, it allows your team of damage dealers to finish off the fight. The question is, can the rest of Fnatic actually kill the squishies while Wicked is being CC'd? Because if they can't, he's simply going to come right out of it having lost absolutely no life, knock everyone up in the air, and that's it.
It's a nice idea, but because you're not doing it onto Lulu, she's immediately going to silence him and completely cancel. Not going to make any difference. So it would be a complete waste. But CLG are pushing onto this bottom turret. Go through the tier 2. Froggen was tanking that turret for a little while, has popped his cleanse, so there goes his Quicksilver Slash, but that's because Soaz has used his ult on him. So that's it. Now Soaz doesn't use his ult, he hasn't got that for the initiate. CLG just going to keep wave clearing, keep pushing into this, and they've all got that Baron buff, so they're going to keep regenerating all the damage Fnatic are doing to them. In return, Fnatic aren't going to do the same. They don't have that regen, they don't have that healer support. They are going to catch wildcard after wildcard, and Cyanide has already left the turret. The rest of CLG are pushing straight in. Fnatic have to be very careful. The Stranglestorms go out, they push up Yellow Pete, but the turret is already down. There's the initiative from Wicked. He only catches Peke this time, but there's a follow-up knockup. Peke does get out with a quick shield and a fallback. Now we've got Cyanide very deep in amongst CLG. Yellow Pete picks up that kill. We've got Fnatic in full retreat, trying to get back onto their turret. There's the teleport from Froggen for vision, find out where they are. One inhib falls. CLG playing this very safe. They're not going to go deep. They're not going to try and go anywhere near that turret. They're going to go straight across to mid. Froggen uses his teleport just because he can. Then makes his way across here where Wicked is tanking this turret for the second inhib turret of the game. Soaz does go through onto Yellow Pete, but immediately gets turned into a little squirrel by Creepo. Pete's going very low, but he is now in the back of the fight. Peke does manage to finish him off with a little bit of help from Soaz at the end. They're trying to chase CLG out of here. Snoopy's very low. Wicked is starting to take some damage from Reckles, but they do have to retreat, and with that Shredded from Crepo, they're out and safe. They've one inhib open, one inhib down.
Yeah, one inhibitor down, the tower exposed. If they decide to dive in there, Twisted Fate can easily backdoor it at any time. So this is going to continue chasing as long as somebody has low health. That blood scent is going to allow him to chase. Enrated doesn't realize how much trouble he's in. Almost runs into a Froggen. Froggen decides not to take that fight though. He could easily have blown Enrated up. Enrated's going to get a huge chunk of gold. Destiny is not available. Are they going to be able to cut Froggen off? This is the question. It is a long time to recall if he decides to start channeling that, but he does have Lichbane, which gives him a very, very good movement speed buff. The rest of Fnatic decide it's not worth chasing him, it's not worth that, and instead they are forced to fall back and defend their base. You pointed out in the previous matchup, Panky, 70% of teams that lose their bottom inhibitor lose the game overall. Will that statistic remain true? Will CLG be able to pick up this first game in the series? We'll have to wait and see.
I have a sneaky suspicion CLG are going to take this now. They've got too many big items. They're too strong and they're too tanky. Wicked is still unstoppable as far as the Fnatic lineup is ready for. They've got to be looking at this now and think, okay, what do we do differently next time? The picks they had were nice. The Warwick was a great idea. They got a couple of free kills onto Froggen. What do you do to shut down CLG? If Froggen's going to carry them in every game, kill Froggen over and over. Soaz though might have got himself caught out in the mid lane. Double Randy going off one on each side. Snoopy going to take very low, but immediately kicked out by Cyanide. Soaz using the movement speed buff from Peke does manage to escape the clutches of CLG, make it back to his base, but he is a little bit low on health and has to use a lot of items to get out.
Yeah, so much to work through. Let's actually flip over to the items. Randian's Omen, Warmog's Force of Nature. We see that Wicked is approaching his full, complete build. I believe that there's only one or two more items that Twisted Fate's going to be able to pick up. He's most likely going to hold onto that Quicksilver Sash for the duration of this game unless they get themselves into a position where the next team fight will secure victory, because simply put, he cannot afford to get infinite duress and die. He is one of the biggest damage dealers on that team, and the amount of utility, the amount of map presence and control that Destiny offers is absolutely insane. So Froggen continues to farm. He has finally taken that farm lead, 395 CS at the 42-minute mark. He's pulling himself back up to his average of 10 creeps per minute. And Fnatic, even though they've got that kill advantage, they have absolutely zero map presence right now.
There is a slight saving grace here for Fnatic, a slight one. with these inhibs exposed, with this bottom inhib down, they're going to get a lot of creeps slowly pushing in towards their base. With that, they can possibly pick up a lot of the farm, gain up, finish off the big items they need at the moment, maybe try and make their way through Wicked in the process. But the thing is, Wicked's going to keep farming while they're down the base too. It's only one inhib down, so there's not that many creeps coming this way. If they'd lost 2 or all 3, there's going to be a lot flowing in. But CLG's comp as well is very hard engaged. So if you've got all those creeps waving in, you're going to keep CSing, you're going to keep CSing, but you then can't repel CLG when they come for that final push. When you've got all those creeps on top of it, when CLG come with a big thing, they're just going to get hard initiate dot and they're going to lose because of creeps and because of CLG.
And the margin of error is so tiny. Yeah, fair enough, they can farm, they can get that gold, but if Fnatic make one misstep, one tiny miscalculation with regards to their engagement, absolutely going to get destroyed and it is going to be game over. CLG are standing on the spot the very second that Baron buff spawns. Lulu is going to be playing interference. Cyanide is going to get stunned. He does flash to safety. Shredder's Reverie has been popped. That is a big item to have been used on the side of CLG. They do not have any others in their back pockets. Gold card is available for Froggen once more, as is his flash. Gonna see who they decide to jump on though. Now I'm going to wait. Baron is still sitting there waiting to be taken down. Baron knows how important he is. 2 oracles. Let's take a look at Soaz. Command Protect is on. Now the Destiny comes in. Immediately gets turned into a Munchkin. Wait for the Infinite Duress. We'll see if we can get a good Shockwave. The Command Attack and Dissonance goes down. Shockwave is still available, but the Dragon's Rage kick has been used. Twisted Fate in the meanwhile. Froggen has teleported into the base. He may be going for a base kill. Inhibitor has not respawned. He's actually backing out. Decides that the plan is not necessarily the smartest. And Fnatic are able to not only stave off the Baron temporarily, but they're going to be able to defend their base against these super creeps right now.
Froggen is toying with them teleporting into those. Like, here's the thing, CLG, they've got to be careful. Of course, they are doing a Baron against Cyanide of all people. They're taking it down quite slowly in all fairness with Froggen not here, but Cyanide is one of our guys defending against him in that bottom lane. So Baron down to 3,000 health, 2,500. Baron will fall now uncontested by Fnatic. They just have to give it up. CLG do take that. Baron number 2.
And all that costs is one ultimate.
Fnatic. So CLG can come back in. They can try and push this through later on. They're just going to go back. They're going to go shop. They're going to wait. Fnatic are waiting for this inevitable push. And it will undoubtedly be the deciding factor in this game. We're at 45 minutes. Everyone is approaching 18. Creeper not quite there. The death timers are going to be very big. If Fnatic can win a fight here onto CLG with a Baron buff, acing them, they're going to be huge death timers. If they don't take an inhib in the process, they're going to be able to go back. They won't be able to win. They won't be able to turn it around. Those timers won't quite be long enough. There's a long way to go across the map. What they will be able to do, however, is take maybe 2 inhibs themselves and open up CLG's base and level this game out. Then they'll have a second chance at another fight, and then they might be able to win it. However, CLG are so far ahead. We've already seen them have so many issues in the fights up to now. Now they've got an extra Dragon. Now they've got an extra Baron. They've gone back. They've shopped. They've got a lot of big items. All they have to do is come in, poke these 2 inhibs down, let the creeps come in, fight Fnatic and win the game.
Yep, so true. It's a really, really tall order for Fnatic. Something that I just seen has been picked up by Froggen. He has completed his Deathfire Grasp, so we can be led to assume that this is going to be his final build. It only reduces 47.8% of their current health. I mean, it's not a lot of numbers, it's not huge. You look at a champion like Soaz before Magic Resistance, of course, he has a total HP pool of 3,200 HP. That's going to be hitting for around 1,800, 1,900 points of damage. You combine that with an opening gambit, lead that into a gold card and then the Lichbane proc, somebody's dead. You don't even need your wild cards with that huge amount of burst. Now we're going to see this engagement. CLG have decided to commit to this middle lane tower. Destiny is available for Froggen if he does decide to join the party, or if he decides to split push this top lane. We'll see how this plays out. Soaz is taking a lot of damage from Ezreal. Yellow Pete is applying the auto attacks and mystic shots. Snoopy does get chunked quite low though. He is, albeit all the armor that he's got, it's not going to protect him against the magic damage, and that's what's really hitting him low. Inhibitor is going down. Fnatic have managed to hold them off. They've managed to delay it, but this next creep wave you have to feel is going to be the inhibitor being deleted. 1 auto attack, 1 more going down. Lichbane from Twisted Fate. We see an engagement from Cyanide. He dives forward. Yellow Pete gets wild growth. They're going to be slowing everybody. A beautiful ultimate from Zyra knocks 3 up in the air. The only person to get caught by that shockwave was Yellow Pete. We're going to stick with the main of the fight as Crepo, and the rest of CLG decide to start backing out. Froggen is in and amongst the rest. Wicked picks up the first engagement. Now they're jumping onto Peke. Yellow Pete goes very, very low. Is going to be able to pick up another? No, unfortunately not. And Rated now gets stunned up under the tower. Gold card is there. Another triple kill for Wicked. He's turned his attention for Reckles. CLG.EU, they're going to be picking up the victory. Twisted Fate grabs it. Uses the Quicksilver Sash. Game 1 in the best of 3 in dramatic fashion.
CLG taking down the Nexus. We'll go 1-0. And the crowd goes mental.
Is it advert break? And welcome back, everybody. You can hear the music in the background. Everybody celebrating that